Alright? Good. We're going to go to 28. 28 verse 15. Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Right? And obviously we didn't obey the commandments of the Heavenly Father, neither his Son. We didn't obey the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right? We didn't do none of that. It says, we sinned against the Lord. This is Baruch chapter 1 verse 17. It said, for we have sinned before the Lord, and disobeyed him, and have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our power, to walk in the commandments that he gave us openly. Right? Openly at Mount Sinai, when Moses brought down the last statutes and commandments and gave it to the nation of Israel and no other nation. Right? Since the day that the Lord brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt unto this present day. Alright? So those curses will be upon the nation of Israel today. Upon the nation that you find those curses on, them are the chosen people of the Most High. Alright? It said we have been disobedient unto the Lord our God, and we have been negligent in not hearing his voice. Wherefore the evil cleave unto us, and the curse which the Lord appointed by Moses his servant at the time that he brought our fathers out of the land of Egypt, to give us a land that flow with milk and honey, like as it is to see this day. Nevertheless, we have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our God, according unto all the words of the prophets whom he sent unto us. Alright? It say, but every man follow the imagination of his own wicked heart, to serve strange gods, and to do evil in the sight of the Lord our God. So the Israel, the nation of Israel, didn't obey the last statutes and commandments. So all the curses from Deuteronomy 28 and 16 to 68 is upon the Lord's people on today's day. Alright? And we're going to go through some of those courses real quick. Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Read back 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Alright? So let's check out these curses. I would deal with who was sold on Action Black, because that was one of the courses. Alright? This is Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee, in anger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. Who had a yoke of iron? Which nation and people had a yoke of iron around their neck? and been in hardcore slavery. Only the nation of Israel, only the so-called Negroes. All right, the Lord shall, right? Let's jump down to 68. Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It said, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Egypt mean bondage. Right? Egypt was known for let me get it. Here's Exodus 20. Let me get it. Salakia again. Exodus 20 verse 2. It say, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Alright? So the Lord say that, and the Lord, Deuteronomy 28:68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Alright? So the Lord is telling us that he would take us into a house of bondage with ships, but he didn't state where. Alright? By the way whereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. See what no more again? The land of Israel. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. And when you look up that word buy, it means no man could save you. Alright, so I look up the word. I look up the word who was sold. I look up and type in on Google. Who was sold on Action Black as slave. Right? And all these different sites came up. Right? I will go into this first one real quick. I won't read much, but just the first part. Let me see. Slave auction 1859. It says in early March 1859, an enormous slave auction took place at the race course 3 miles outside Savannah, Georgia. 436 slaves were to be put on the auction block, including men, women, children, and infants. So they were sold in so-called Negroes. Alright, men, women, and children. Word of the sale had spread through the South for weeks, drawing potential buyers from North and South Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Alabama, and Louisiana. All of Savannah's available hotel rooms and any other lodging places were quickly appropriated by the influx of visitors. It said in the days running up to the auctions, daily excursions were made from the city to the race course to inspect, evaluate, and determine an appropriate bid for the human merchandise on display. See, they call us human merchandise on display. Alright, all these Edomites was, and who was the one buying us? Was these so-called white people, these Edomites. Who are the Edomites according to the Bible? The sales magnitude was the result of the breaking up of an old family estate that include 2 plantations. The majority, right? We had enough on that one. We go to the next side. Right? It's a Black Peoples of America, the slave auction. You see, it said to be sold on board the ship. This is a sign that they used to put up, and they used to sell Negro slaves when slaves came in. And we are the only people that was sold on Action Block. Alright, now the so-called Jews over in the nation, in the land of Israel today, They was never sold on auction block. Alright? Where is the record and the issue on them being sold on auction block with a yoke of iron around their neck? You wouldn't find that. Alright? They say once in the America, slaves were sold by auction to the person that bid the most money for them. It was here that family members would find themselves split up, as a blinder may not want to, but the whole family, only the strongest and healthiest member. A precept just come to my mind. Next course, it say, Deuteronomy 28:32. This is another curse. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. Thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. Alright? Because they had Edomites, if they choose not to obey, they would kill them. Alright, they would hang us and put us to death. You know, so they say once, and who that curse apply to? The so-called Negroes, because our family was split up. Alright, because one the buyer, alright, he don't want the entire family. You only want the wife. You know, to probably make sex slave. Alright? And there is another course. The scripture say another man would have sex with our wife. Right in Deuteronomy 28. Alright? Or the man of the family. Because he is strong and he is healthy and he well built to work on a different plantation, the child will go on a different way, and the wife would go on a different way. They would split up an entire family. And who did this? Esau, the so-called white people, right? To the nation of Israel. They didn't do it to the Amalekites, Jews over in the Amalekites over in Israel. That didn't happen to them. Right? It says slave action was advertised when it was known that a slave ship was due to arrive. Posters like the one picture above would be displayed around the town. When the slave ship docked, the slave would be taken off the ship and placed in a pen like this. So they were placed in a pen like this. Our forefathers were placed in a pen like this. You know? We know it was us because the scripture teach reincarnation. Right? They would be washed and their skin covered with grease or sometimes tar to make them look more healthy. This was done so that they would fetch as much money as possible. They would also be branded with a hot iron to identify them as slaves. You see, we were serving our enemies in thirst, like I read in Deuteronomy 28:48, in hunger and nakedness. We was living in a pen. They put us in a pen and brand us, treating us like animals. And there's the so-called Negroes, who was predominantly from the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Alright? It said the slave would be bought from the pen in turn to stand on raised platforms so that they could be seen by the buyers. Before the bidding began, those that wished to could come up onto the platform to inspect the slave closely, the slave had to endure being put and forced to open their mouths for the buyers. The auctioneer would decide a price to start the bidding. This would be higher for fit. Young slave and lower for older, very young or sickly slave. Potential buyers would then bid against each other. The person who bid the most would then own that slave. And how was they doing this? On auction block. The picture below shows a slave being auctioned today. Highest bidder. And you see it here. In that course saying Deuteronomy 28:68 that you will be sold as born man and born woman. Only the nation and the so-called Negroes went through that. Right? No other nation. Looking for the scripture that say, the course that say, shall be a sign unto thee. See if I could search it. Slakia. God, Deuteronomy 28:46. And they shall, God, 45. Moreover, all these courses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearken not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Alright, so everywhere Israel go, alright, these signs, these courses will be upon them. There's courses that say that they wouldn't prosper. Alright, they would forever be in loaning for everything. Alright, they wouldn't have enough. They can't save money. Alright, these courses are upon our people. And only our people, only the Latinos, the natives, and the so-called Negroes. We are the ones suffer these courses. Alright, so that proves that, hey, we are the chosen people of the Most High. I could go into a lot more history, precept to show that. But with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders at GMS. Shalom to you brothers in the four corners of the earth that pushing this word in sincerity and in truth. I hope this video was edifying. Shalom to the few sisters also. Shalom. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Bracket down.